So yeah, hi everyone. This is Diaz, your A-game business coach. As a seeker of knowledge, I'm always looking out to find out who I can speak to, what else I can learn that I've maybe have either undermined in the past or that is possibly causing a block in terms of my own progress. And I find that, as human beings, we tend to share the same problems. We tend to be seeking the same kind of knowledge. And so I'm here today to create yet another platform where I'm reaching out to my friends around the world. And with me today, I have James Yates, who's, funny enough, I was connected to through another international colleague and friend of mine, Derek Barber. So just for a little bit of context, James, how I got to know of you, again, going back to the same sort of context around my wanting to always learn and to grow. Derek Barber is not only a friend, but he's also a teacher and a coach. So I always tap into people like him. And so I'd been attending this online course around networking that he facilitated. And he played us a video of you. And I was really keen to know a lot more about you. So please take an opportunity to just give myself and the audience a little bit of context of who you are, so we can get to know a little bit about you before we jump into the rest of the interview.
Absolutely, KK. Well, firstly, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here with you, and it's been fun the way we've connected, obviously LinkedIn and as well, and it's a beautiful part of the whole connecting process, isn't it? The social media piece. But I guess, look, first and foremost, I'm a father. I have a little 20-month-old at the moment, and for the last 20 months, I've been a full-time father. I've been stay at home. The three of us, my partner Chantel, who's from South Africa, myself here from Australia, and our little one, we've got to experience, really every single moment of every single day together, which has just been beautiful. That was one of my big dreams and goals of becoming an entrepreneur in the first place. But if you go back a little bit, I was always a young guy with big dreams, and I got involved in the world of entrepreneurship at the age of 16. I still finished school, but I had this big vision to help people at that stage in fitness, and I became a performance coach. I ended up training elite athletes, some that went on to compete for the highest honors. And at the same time, got to really learn about the mindset of a champion. 10 100ths of a second can often be the difference between first and fourth or fifth place. I mean, it's crazy in that world. And you realize that it's not talent that gets you to the finish line first. It's really the preparation and the mindset and the techniques that you implement as you go. And so it was really a fascinating beginning to my career. The only problem was that I burnt myself out because I was a sole trader, right? Like I was the business. Yeah. And I learned very early on that, it's probably the worst business model in the world when it comes to wealth creation, because if you aren't there, you don't get paid. Yeah. And so I went on a journey, an entrepreneurial journey, where I got into home-based business and built some big teams around the world of tens of thousands of people, and got to travel quite early on in my life. And as I said earlier, my reason for doing that was because I just wanted to one day be in a position where I could be at home full time with my kids when I had them. That was the whole goal. And so it wasn't quite as smooth as that, because you have your massive highs in business, and you have your lows where everything feels like you're pushing everything up a hill and it's coming back to roll you over. It just doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. But my vision was always greater than my largest challenge. And I just kept going, and I kept going and kept going. And it got to the stage where I was able to achieve some particular goals that I had in my life for my family. But then I got to a stage where I realized that being selfish or going after goals that were just for me wasn't fulfilling, or wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it was going to be when I first came up with those dreams and those goals. And I realized that the greatest, feeling in the world is to give back. And so what I do nowadays is I run a human performance academy. We help people in a variety of different backgrounds to really just become limitless in everything that they do. I mean, I'm not talking one industry, one particular modality. I just really believe in bringing a holistic approach to helping people to dream bigger and achieve more through good health, through good mindset, through good business influence, and a lot of those different pieces that come together. So very long story short, but started off as a human performance coach, still am a human performance coach, but been through a massive journey in between.
Wonderful, beautiful. Now, I'm going to pick up on some of the things you're saying, to then ask the questions, because again, this is a conversation. Really, it's not about, having a formal interview of that nature. You've said a couple of things, and one of them that I'd like to jump on. I'll come back to the others. They say we tend to want to learn more or teach, the stuff that we ourselves want to learn more about. Now, you've mentioned that you've made a couple of mistakes, and that you were seeking to possibly be that superhuman performer, and then you've gotten into this game. In reflecting back, do you think that applies? Is this something that you want to be a super performance athlete in inverted commas, and therefore something you're learning, and then as you learn, you then teach your community, you teach your tribe?
Yes and no. I think the ultimate journey for me initially started off by being fascinated by my own personal experience. Absolutely. I went through some challenges as a kid health-wise, and so I got into health and fitness as a way of getting out of that. So that was definitely very applicable then. And ultimately then, as I learned more for me, I was able to then go and teach it, and was fascinated whilst I was in that space. Nowadays, it's really, I guess we define human performance away from athletics, and 100% focused on just helping people to become the best version of themselves. And so I ultimately keep striving to grow me, absolutely. But there are some principles that I've realized along the way that have to be taught and have to be absorbed faster. For example, I was running a business seminar in Johannesburg about 4 weeks ago, and it was a business seminar, but the first 3 hours we were talking about mindfulness. We were talking about cold showers, breathing techniques, everything that is going to help you perform better ultimately in business, but most people still haven't really connected the two. Yeah. So for me, it's been working it out, trying it, applying it, absolutely. But there have been times where you might master a particular topic, and then you kind of say, you know what, that made so much sense, I'm going to now go and teach that. I don't necessarily feel like I'm still on that journey, but I feel like if someone hasn't even started that journey, that is the first point they need to be on. Yeah. So for me, it's all about just progressional experiences, and then explaining and teaching it from there.
All right, beautiful. So I'd like to continue, learning a little bit more about what you do in your business. I want to go back to the business model. You touched on business model, but before we sort of frame your business model, and then maybe I'll ask you one or two questions around that. Can you tell us what's your typical day, if you have one? What does it look like in terms of your engagement with clients, the seminars? What does James' life look like from a day-to-day perspective?
Yeah, I love that question. And I guess before we even get into the client thing, firstly, I always start the day with MBI. So it's move, breathe, set your intentions. Moving for at least 20 to 30 minutes to get that endorphin release up, just to feel good. Breathing to ground yourself, so that can be a form of meditation and mindfulness, and just to become really present in the moment. And then I, for intentions, is setting what the intentions are, whether it's for the day, for the week, for the year. But it's important to be able to be very, very clear on what you're looking to accomplish in that particular period of time. So it always begins like that. Almost always fasting up until lunchtime, no food, a little bit of water, and then, from there we get into all of the other health reasons, the health benefits. But the reason I tell you that up front is how you start your day will define so much about your success. Yeah. And a lot of people teach this, but I'm still a big fan of you make your bed first. Actually, before you do MBI, you actually make your bed, because it's an accomplishment. And as small as it is, it's a big thing to tick off a lot of smaller accomplishments in the day. So first, that's the first thing. Typical day, there really isn't one. I generally stay with my son until lunchtime at least, completely engaged till he has a bit of a nap. And then it's really about making conversation or creating conversations with key people of influence that have the ability to be able to bring value to me, and I can bring value to them. So we're constantly looking at joint ventures in opportunities that we can bring to the marketplace, whether it's with courses, whether it's with events that we run. For me, it's always been about surrounding yourself with, the key people of influence that are going to elevate your energy, elevate your knowledge, rather than drag it down. So that's really important to me. Right now, we're in the middle of a massive development for our academy. So between now and February when we launch, a lot of it has been then going into making sure that we are ticking every box in that regard. And, from there, a lot of social media kinds of things. I jump into groups, 2 to 3 times a day with different teams or businesses doing free trainings. I basically give my time on the basis that I feel that I can add some value from maybe some experiences that I've had. And I don't go into those sessions, just like today, with any expectation rather than let's just have a chat, let's get to know each other. And the world or the universe has a very, very beautiful way of working things out. You'll always find that it will deliver tenfold, but you don't go in with the intention for it to do that. Yeah. So for me, that was today. That was most days. Some days there are a lot more, calls with different parts of the team. We have 15 odd people we work with within our team. So there's things going on all the time, but I try to be a little bit more high level now, let people do their things, let the developers do their things, let the marketing guys do their things. And I'm there to add value. And that's really what I do.
Fantastic. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about, the technical products and services that your company provides, or companies?
Yeah, absolutely. So Reignite, the great thing about this conversation now is I can be really raw and real because we're about to release something that's not even hit the market yet. But I guess, to give you a long story short, up until this point, we've had products that have really served the home-based business industry, which have meant people that are wanting to work for themselves from home that may not have known what to do. We've had processes, systems, mindset techniques. We've had online courses, and we've run events around the world in that capacity for many years. And that's where I've kind of been positioned and known. Come February, our Human Performance Academy brings together a lot of key influencers that are very powerful in their own particular fields: communication experts, high performance coaches, mindfulness experts, well-being biohackers, people from a variety of different angles. And what we do is we run online training, some of it is free, where we basically have content that comes from these people. And then we have an online platform that allows people to get rewarded for learning. So if people love the training that we have, they can dive in, they can become a premium member, which is a monthly thing. And they get access to coaching with me every month. They get access to a reward system that, basically every time they engage, they get benefits. And we build a whole academy around that so that we know that when someone comes in and works with us online, we know that they're progressing. As long as they log in, they're always going to be accessing that next bit of information that can help them to transform their lives. Typical clients are people that are looking to have more influence in the world, maybe already people that are successful that just want to enhance their skills. And a lot of people that don't even know their message yet. Well, they think they don't, but we teach them to find it and then also, become that influential character as well. So it's all about being underpinned by the 4 elements of vitality: mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual, and making sure that we teach with those pillars so that no matter who you are, you can gain benefit and you can grow personally as well. In addition to our online courses, we have high impact events that we run around the world: retreats, 2-day summits, and then also we run some smaller events as well, 3 to 5 hours.
Fantastic. So like you said, it's funny how the universe works. And I'm right in the sort of early stages of my online course. I've released version 2, and I'm playing around with the idea of rewards, gamification, because in the past you give people content and it's just not enough, but you also don't want to be there all the time hand holding people. You kind of want the system to do as much of the work and the community to do as much of the work itself. So yeah. I'd like to take an opportunity at some point to then discuss your learnings around that and see what I can learn and apply myself. Absolutely. Now, where I'd also like what I'd also like to do is, maybe if you've got a link you can share, please do send it, and I'll put it across the screen for other people to kind of see and obviously take that opportunity.
Sure.
Yeah. So you said you were in Johannesburg a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately I'd also taken a weekend off and we kind of missed each other, Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about what you were doing in Johannesburg.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were running a one-day event there, which has now turned into a two-day event for 2019. But basically, it was a business seminar that was focused on really helping people to become the best version of themselves and then create more influence in the world. We talked a lot about social media hacks, how to really brand yourself, position yourself in front of the right audience, and then take massive action. A lot of what I have worked with over the years has been very much what we're doing here, relationship-based, social media, real connections, not just adverts, but it's really the organic side of social media, which works so well. So we talked a lot about that. And then we do it all over again, but in a larger capacity in May back in Joburg as well in Santon. And it's great because we bring local influencers into the room with us. We have Dr. Tamara, who's a wellbeing biohacker. She's actually one of South Africa's top wellbeing biohackers that comes in, and we talk all things in terms of neuroscience, why we should actually meditate and what it does to the actual amygdala in the brain and how it shrinks it and makes us less stressed. And we talk about a lot of that kind of stuff as well.
Right.
But yeah, it was a one-day event, and we had a lot of fun, and a lot of people in the room from a variety of different opportunities, companies, and industries.
Great. Did you work with Precious Mvulani on the event?
I did.
I was just on a call with her. So she's one of the members of a weekly kind of peer coach network that I'm part of. And I actually forgot to speak to her about it. So I'll definitely let her know that I wasn't told you.
Fantastic. She's great.
Yeah,
we had her on stage for an hour, and she is just unreal. So anyone that needs financial insight, she's brilliant.
Fantastic. Thanks again for sharing. Now, tell me a little bit more about your perspective of the country. It wasn't the first time you came to SA, right?
No, so I've had about 12 years of South Africa now. I've got a South African partner, Chantel. She her mum worked with me for many years, and she set us up. So I know South Africa both from an outsider coming in, and also from a family perspective now as well. So I've got to see it really from both angles. Beautiful.
I guess that's what I'm loving more about having connected with you on this platform, which is the outside-in perspective. Now, as I said, it's always kind of a sensitive discussion to have, to kind of ask someone randomly, what do you think is wrong with me? Which is at the end of the day, the bigger piece of the conversation that I want to take away with me is based on your perspective. What are the things that you love about this country? But let's just be real. I want to know more about the stuff that I need to know about who I am as a country, and some of the things that I can change and improve on to kind of grow and to prosper as a country.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really interesting question, because when I arrive to OR Tambo every single time, there is an energy in South Africa that I do not get anywhere else. And I've traveled a lot. We're on 100 plus flights year before last to all different parts of the world. And we were saying the same thing. There's just something really special when you get to South Africa that you don't get anywhere else. And what I think it really is for me is that there's still this real element of community that's really, really prominent and really needed in the world of entrepreneurship. And, if you look at where we live here in Australia, we live really close to neighbors on each side of us right now. There's like a neighbor that way and there's a neighbor that way. And we took like 6 months before we even got to know them. Like we lived in here before we even got to know them. That's very rare for that to happen in South Africa. Everyone kind of knows each other very, very quickly. Yeah. There's this beautiful community piece that happens. And so the first thing is, from a very, very positive perspective, South Africa has all the ingredients to do exceptionally well. You've got the hunger and the drive, because really there is no plan B, right? We understand that. Yeah. To me, that's a positive thing, because it means you have to take control of your own destiny. Yeah. Secondly, you've got the community spirit where you can connect with people quickly, but you can also like and trust people quickly, which allows you to do more. And I'm talking from a business angle, but it's the same if you just literally want to grow right? You want to be around the good people, and you can connect very quickly on that regard. The other thing I love is technology is growing exceptionally quickly. Yeah. And you've also got the ability and the hub into the remainder of Africa. Now, a lot of people understand, look, we live there, we understand, but this is from an Australian's perspective. What I see right now 5G is coming out in the next year to 2 years all over the world. And for those people that don't know what 5G is, it's simply the next version of 4G, which is your mobile phone connectivity. Yeah. Now, 5G is delivered in a different frequency where they are going to be installing these boxes nearly every second block so that people can connect. The negative is that the frequency hasn't been tested on humans for very long, and there has been results of it impacting animals in a negative way. But let's look at the positives, right? Yeah. The positives are, the plan is within the next 5 years for the entire world to be connected through satellites down to some of these boxes. There's going to be different ways they're doing it. Satellites down to the boxes, and the boxes are going to distribute the 5G. There are 3.5 billion people in the world that are not connected on internet right now that are going to be connected in the next 5 years. And a lot of those people are in Africa, right? South Africa is the absolute hub to leverage and offer opportunity across the entire continent. And for me, that just opens up an entire opportunity because it's so multicultural already. You've got so many different parts of Africa already come into South Africa to learn, to grow, to thrive. The leverage point back as well is massive. So what you've got is you've got people that are in technology and communication that right now might be looking around going, oh, there's too many competitors.
Yeah.
There are people in personal development going, there's too many competitors. And I'm saying half the world has not even been connected yet. So for me, that's really exciting. I think, so South Africa's developed in a huge capacity in terms of being at the forefront of being able to leverage that. Same on the medical biohacking side. I think there's a lot of people that are very much ahead of the game in that side. They understand the neuroscience piece, the well-being piece. Yeah. The gym industry is being big, but now we're seeing the alternative, what was deemed as the alternative fitness industry, which was yoga, meditation, all these things are massive. So if you combine all of these elements and you combine with timing in terms of opportunity, it's never been better. And so I always get a great energy when I go there because I see the opportunity. I hear from a lot of people that are there saying, oh, you know, we're not moving forwards fast enough. But my answer to that is always to be patient and don't look outside your lane. Play focused. We're in a world right now, and especially in South Africa, I see a lot of compare-itis. You know, you look what your neighbor's doing, you look what your friend up the road's doing, and because they're already driving a car that they probably didn't even buy themselves, they're probably just leasing it, right? Because they've got it all, you feel like you've been left behind. But the reality here is if you stay in your own lane and you understand the opportunity ahead, it could be massive. And I feel like it's actually not, it's nothing to do with what's going on. Yes, the government thing can always be an excuse. There's always these things going on. But ultimately, I feel that if we can just shift our perspective, we can change an entire feeling, right? Emotion very, very, very quickly. So that's my feeling. I feel it's one of the best places. In fact, we almost lived there instead of here when we had our little one on the way. We had the two options, and we literally just came back here because my family was here, and we just had that support mechanism. But we were looking very seriously at South Africa as an option as well, and we wouldn't have done that unless we thought there was great possibilities.
Of course. So, and look, I'm loving this conversation. I'm still cognizant of time, so we have maybe another 2 minutes. Sure. You know, besides the new products you're launching, anything else? I want to come back to the perspective, but anything else we should know about what you're doing next? Besides, I know you're coming back in May, you're launching some products late around February. Anything else we should know about?
Yeah. I think, look, they're the two main things at the moment. I mean, the event in May, 11th and 12th of May in Sandton is going to be a great event because we're going to bring people from all around the country in a variety of capacities all together to learn. First, the first day is inward stuff, so it's all about personal performance. And the second day is all about how to master your influence and to, you know, help people positively take on the message that you have and to help them grow, and whatever that looks like, whether it's your products, your services, your offering, whatever it is. So our event there next year is really, really something that I'm very passionate about because we get to be in person. I can't wait for us to just sit down and say hello, right? There's something even more powerful than what we're doing here when you're in person. And so, from a product perspective, you know, the biggest thing that we're doing that I really haven't mentioned is that every few weeks we launch these sprints, and these sprints are 21-day courses. And basically these courses are designed to help someone start where they are and help them get to where they want to be in the field that they are interested in most. So we have one that's going to be helping people for those that love going more into a whole foods nutritional setup. How do you transition into that? We've got people that are wanting to become masters of their own marketing. So we have, sprints designed for that. So again, big variety and differences of those two topics, but again, it's all part of the whole holistic piece of personal performance. So that's really what we're doing as part of our growth strategy. And I'm excited because we get to not only work with people, but with 21 days, people can see the finishing line already. And if you look at most online courses, about 20% of people that buy a course actually finish it. That's a really bad statistic. And the reason being is because the attention span has gone down. Yeah. And most people don't even know because they've got the money, right? They got paid and someone bought it and they never tracked the engagement. So for us, it's all about shorter courses with a defined, beginning and ending, allows people to say, I can actually do this and I'm going to stick in there. And we've got a few other tweaks we make within that 21-day program so that there is heavy engagement, but it's our main product offering.
Wonderful. So as you know, our country is slow into adopting some trends for obvious reasons. And maybe a month or 2 or 3 from now, let's talk a little bit about online courses, because we could learn a lot from people like you and see how we can leverage online courses as professionals, as businesses, across the spectrum, really. James, thanks again for your time. So just in closing, just wrapping it up, going back to the outside-in perspective, any last 1 or 2 sort of comments, sort of pieces of advice that you could potentially provide that we could kind of reflect on and just learn and move forward?
Absolutely, man. Always follow your intuition. I mean, we always know the answers. We always feel that feeling in our stomach, and so many of us just don't listen to it because we're listening to how we've been taught rather than how we were born, right? So I always say there's the person you've been born to be, and there's the person you've been taught to be, and make sure you follow the right one. And for me in business, I made some very big mistakes in terms of timing, where I stuck in things for way too long just because I was comfortable or because, I listened to my head over my gut or my heart. And in hindsight and in reflection, all of the positive results that have come in the last, let's say, couple of years, that's very measurable for me right now, have all been at times where I've followed my gut and made the tough decisions at the times where you would least expect it as an outsider, but you already knew that it was the right thing to do. So I think it's really important that as we go into this new year, we listen to our guts much more and we follow that instinct.
Beautiful. James, I couldn't ask for a better person to kick off the Outside-In Perspective series with. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And folks, yeah, I guess you heard it from the man himself. We will, keep asking for his time in the future, and obviously when he can provide it, so that we can continue to share and all of us to learn as we progress, as we connect better as a community. I love what James said about the community aspect. Us as South Africans, we always talk about Ubuntu, the connected community. I think it is time that we start reflecting on that and seeing how we can relearn what I know personally as an African myself that we've kind of left behind. So let's connect back as a community and see how we can help each other stay connected and just move forward as a collective. Coach James, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Take care of family, take care of yourself, and all the best for 2019. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
No, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, my brother. Thank you very much.